Okay, for this demonstration, I'm going to be using my iPad mini. I've already installed the DS Cam app through the App Store. If you have a Google or Android device, you would install it through the Google Play Store. Also, from my previous video, I did show you how to install through the Package Center the Surveillance Station and also configure a camera with that. So by clicking on Surveillance Station here, you'll see it opens up a separate tab and you have a number of options available to you such as live view, timeline, IP camera, and recording and help. So let's focus our attention back onto the iPad here. So if I open up the DS Cam app, and this is your first time, you're going to notice that it's going to ask you to specify the IP address for your Synology NAS along with its username and password. Okay, now let's log into the device. Now once you're logged in, if you have multiple cameras configured on the Synology NAS, they'll all be listed here, each with its individual streams. You'll notice that I only have one available. That's because I only have one camera that's active right now. But if you were to click on this blue button, it can actually give you the properties of this camera without logging into the camera itself. You also have three other options here. In case if you do have more than one camera, you can display multiple views at the same time. This middle button, you can select one or more cameras to enable, disable, or to set the multi-view. You can also set the filtering based on the server too. On the upper left, there's also an option here. Clicking on your user account allows you to configure multiple things such as continuous play, force MJ streaming, logging out. If you were to click on the recordings tab, any of the recordings that you set, whether it's a continuous recording or if it's a recording based on motion, they'll all be listed here. Snapshots, in case if you did click on the snapshot button, which I'm going to show you in a little bit, you can see the individual images here, along with notifications. So let's go back to the cameras, and let's select our one and only camera. By doing so, on the bottom left, you'll notice that there's the pan and tilt functions. In this upper right, you'll notice that there's a snapshot button, the manual recording, the preset camera position, and also if you set patrolling features for the camera, you can select them right here. As you can see, I've done none of that. But I want to show you that if you were to pan and tilt the camera, that there is a slight delay, almost a second delay or half a second delay. Now this may be kind of annoying to some of you who want a real-time response from pan and tilt, but it actually does its job well, and I actually don't mind this feature at all. Okay, so back out, you would hit on camera, and to log out, you simply just hit this this button again. You'll click on your admin account here, and then you just click on log out and say yes. Okay, now let's very briefly look at the web interface here. If you click on live view, the first time you're going to click on it, you're only going to get the view of one camera, but that's very easy to change. You just go to management here, and depending on the number of cameras you have, you can set the layout from this. Since I only have one, I'm just going to cancel out. But if you notice that as I roll over my screen here, you'll see that there's an arrow pointing, and you can pan and tilt just by left clicking. And if you can see, I'm not sure if you notice this, but the time I click on the blue button when it highlights blue, but there's a slight delay as far as the pan and tilt is actually concerned. But the image is definitely much smoother than the iOS app, but you do notice that delay though. And the same goes true if you were to use these buttons here. Also, you have some different options here. If you click on this information button, it'll tell you that it's actually recording at the very top, and there's audio up there. You can also do an EMAP. You can also do a fixed ratio, and you can also set this for full screen as well too. Now, as far as alerts too, if you were to click on alerts, it can list what happened in the past, different management. You can management options. These patrol functions, there's nothing set at this point, so there's nothing to click here. But to set those, all you have to do is go to this very top left. You're going to click on it, and you can actually do an action rule. You can do snapshots, live view, add-ons. What's really neat though, if you were to click on the timeline here, so say if you have multiple recordings occurring at any point in time, it's actually listed by the timeline here. So you can actually go back and you can see multiple cameras being shown at once from different angles. Pretty nice, pretty slick for this Synology. Now remember, the main focus of the Synology is really a storage device. It's a NAS unit. But with the added security features, it really makes it an all-in-one. And plus, there's other apps that you can install on the Synology, which makes it really much more of a value than any other NAS or recording device out there, DVR out there. As I've shown you in the previous video, this is where you configure or add and delete your cameras. You can set the device, each of the individual device configurations. Recording here, you can scroll through all the different recordings that you have done. You can export them out, delete them. Really nice. You can also lock certain videos, say if it's really important to you of what actually occurred, you can do that without actually overriding previous data. So this is the Synology DS Cam app along with the web interface for that iOS app. I hope you find it useful. If you want to see more, just go ahead and subscribe.